Today I'm going to show you how to back up a MIDI 4 Plus and reload that backup onto another MIDI 4 Plus, whether it's a backup or to a secondary one if you want the same settings. And I'm going to do this in our iConfig software. So in iConfig here, I have my MIDI 4 Plus. I'm going to go in, I'm going to give it a name, rename the device. I'm just going to do some different modifications to it so that we can see that we're actually saving. So I'm just going to make this kind of silly setup here. So I'm just going to do something that's obviously not the default settings, and that should be all good. And so I'm going to save this, safeguard settings, and then we're going to go to File. I'm going to do Save Preset. I'm going to say that MIDI 4 tests preset 1, and you can give it whatever you want for description as well. I'm going to check all, and then we're going to click, instead of clicking OK before you go over and click OK, hit export as MIDI. We're going to save this as a MIDI file. Nice thing about MIDI files is not set to any certain software and can be loaded on any computer to any device, which is kind of nice. I'm just going to throw it on the desktop. We'll call it MIDI 4 Plus test preset 1. Alright, so that'll save 2 files on my desktop. One will say reboot, and the other will just be without the word reboot. Let me see if I can find those. So I have this one right here. And as you can see, this one says test preset. I don't know if I can pull this out. This one has the word reboot after it, and this one does not. These are the same, basically the same file, except for one requires you, when you reload it, to reboot the device, and the other one doesn't. So what I'm going to do is, now that I have all these little changes saved there, like the device name and the info and that kind of stuff, I'm going to do a factory reset on this device. So I'm going to go to Device, Store Factory Defaults. So we'll pretend like this is your second unit that you're trying to load the backup onto. And just take a second here. And so I connect MIDI 4 Plus, or MIDI 4, I mean. So select that. You can see the names changed back. This first name here that I changed was back. I don't have any of that extra routing. So that's exactly the way it was before. So what I'm going to do is, I can use any like MIDI or SysEx player to actually run this. I'm going to use SysEx Librarian. If I was on Windows, I would likely use MIDI aux. So what we want to do is we want to come in here and select the port that we're going to send to. You can send to any port on the MIDI 4 Plus. I'm just going to pick DIM 1. It's just the first port. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, let me see which file. I'm going to take one of these files. I'm going to take the one that doesn't say reboot, because I don't like rebooting after. And so I'm going to take this one. This one doesn't say reboot. I'm going to drag it in here. Click OK. So there's my file. And then all I have to do is hit play. And it shouldn't take very long. I have my SysEx Librarian isn't running super fast, so once it runs through all the messages, if you did this in another software, or if you did it in, you can do it in your DAW. Just run the file, just run the MIDI file out to the port. It will only take seconds to do. All right, so it looks like that just completed. And let's close this, and I'm going to open iConfig again. And we'll see what our MIDI 4 Plus, you can already see right here, it's renamed ICM 4 Plus, which is what I renamed it before in here. In our MIDI info, we have test 1 in here. MIDI port routing, you can see it's got the extra routings. So it looks like the preset's fully brought everything over. If I go to audio patch bay, that didn't, so the audio patch bay didn't bring over. And the reason being is if you look at the save preset, it doesn't have audio as an option to select when you check all. And for the MIDI 4 Plus, that really doesn't matter. There's not a whole lot happening in the audio side of things. It's just stereo channels from each USB port. So you can always set that back up here. This is the default routing if anyone's ever wondering. And that's all we have to do. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to iConnectivity support at iconnectivity.com/support.